Yo, what's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the So I Heard podcast. If you guys are new to this, I'm KD. Hopefully you guys are having a great one. Depending on whenever you're listening to this. Well, I guess it doesn't matter whenever you're listening to this. Still have a great one. Great night, good day, whatever. And like I said, if you guys are new to this podcast, I normally speak on positivity, but you know what I mean? I bring in some other type of topics from time to time. And if you guys have been listening to the podcast, welcome back and thank you for listening, man. It means so much. Love putting out these episodes. Love getting into these conversations, whether it's just motivational stuff or stuff that's going on currently or whatever. Love getting into these conversations. So I'm not going to waste time on what we're about to get into. What we are about to get into is the Dave Chappelle Comedy Special. And yeah, if you guys haven't checked it out, man, you probably heard about some of the stuff. You know, it's been brought up in the news so much lately. I personally watched it. I don't know if I watched it the first night or I watched it like the day after. One of them, I watched it very early on. And for me, I liked it. You know what I mean? I'm a fan of Dave Chappelle. And I don't want this conversation to be taken like it's a bias or whatever just because I'm a fan of Dave Chappelle. I want you guys to know that these are my honest thoughts on these situations. This is how I honestly feel. Yeah, I don't know, man. Like, I feel like the comedy special was great. I loved it. I'm one of those people that honestly loved that this conversation was happening. The topic of the damn comedy special, you know. So if you guys don't know, a big part of the comedy special was him talking about the LGBTQ community. I think I got it right. Normally, I'm saying I got it right because normally, like, when I try to say the whole thing, I'm like, yo, wait, which letters? Like, I don't even know what everything stands for. Like, you know what I'm saying? So, but I think I got it right. And, yeah, so Dave Chappelle was basically talking about how everything is like, I don't know if you guys understand or seen his other specials where, you know, Dave Chappelle does push it. He pushes the content. A lot of people become offended. But at the same time, it's not like this guy is a villain or some crazy mastermind that's, you know what I mean, trying to really do harm to people or anything. And I think that's something that we have to realize with just comedy in general. There's been so many comedians that have made jokes and then they've been canceled. And, you know, we're not going to get into, you know, we're not going to compare it to like Michael Richardson. I think it's Michael Richardson, the one that plays Kramer on Seinfeld, when, you know, he told the black dude, like, if this was years ago, you'd be hanging from a tree or some shit like that. And that right there is totally crazy. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like, dude, that's not even a joke. Like, there's no punchline. There's like, what is it? You know what I'm saying? You just said some crazy shit because you were mad. But Dave Chappelle really opens up and has this conversation about how things aren't really equal, I guess, or there's a level of difference between importance. And I'm not saying it, and he wasn't saying it this way, saying it like, you know, the LGBTQ community doesn't deserve rights, because totally, I believe they do. He believes they do. He said it in his special, you know. But so many times when these comedians are having these specials, or if somebody's tweeting, or, well, I think it's a little bit different with tweets because, you know, you put out this whole tweet and people can just easily screenshot it. But with a lot of the special, some people are taking like little parts, right? And nobody's really posting the parts where he's being positive about everything. They're just taking little sentences and being like, oh, Dave Chappelle's the enemy. You know, there was a lot of positivity that he did say in the special. And I was laughing from beginning to end. And this is something that I kind of talked about in another podcast episode. And I don't want anybody to think like I'm attacking anybody or, you know, that I don't like anybody. Like, dude, here's one thing. I'm going to just say it from the beginning, from the jump. There are so many people that I know. I don't know trans people, you know what I mean? But I know gay women. I know gay men. You know, I've socialized with them, been cool with them. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like, and I'm not saying it in a way like when you have a racist that's like, oh, no, I'm not racist. I have black friends. You know what I mean? But these are people that I considered cool, considered friends, and everything like that. So it's not like I'm out here just judging, you know, even with me being a straight guy and me understanding that this is what I like. You know what I mean? I like to be straight. I date women, but at the same time, you have a different preference. That's okay. This is your life. I say it all the time in my podcast episodes, live life and be happy. So I mean that. And I honestly mean that. If that's what you're into, that's what you're into. You know what I mean? I think the only issue I ever have with any of these parts is like, you know, don't pressure people into things. You know, there's been past issues with other celebrities, or, you know, we can use an example of like a YouTuber, James Charles, where he's a gay guy that likes to go for straight men, and sometimes he applies that pressure, and it's like, dude, don't do that. Don't do that. You look like a predator at that point. You're doing stuff that people aren't asking for. That's harassment. You know what I'm saying? That's the only issue I really have with any of this. But, well, no. Okay, so I guess that isn't the only issue. The conversation that Dave Chappelle had was basically like how the LGBTQ community a lot of times does come off like they're the victim. Now, I totally see if somebody's really saying some crazy stuff to you, they're saying some harsh stuff, and if you're being attacked, you know, because there are people that are being attacked, we can't sweep that under the rug. We can't act like it's not happening. We can't act like there aren't people out here that are really targeting the community, you know. It's happening, and it's totally wrong. But at the same time, there is a lot of stuff that just isn't right. Or I should say, it's a lot of people that are going about things the wrong way, you know? And I guess there's going to be like a lot of comparisons in this conversation, just like how it was in Dave Chappelle's stand-up comedy special, where, you know, he was kind of comparing how the LGBTQ community, I'm going to just call it the community. I'm not about to say all the words all the time. And probably even that, by me not saying all of the letters, you know, somebody will be like, oh, well, why aren't you saying it? I think we're at a point where we realize that people will become offended by so many things. And I'm not even going to use the argument that Dave Chappelle's a comedian, so comedians could just say whatever the hell that they want to say. Remember, like I said with Kramer, you know, some things are just like, yo, don't even get into that. You know, don't even say that. Don't even think about saying that. But the special was good. I feel like we're at a point where so many people go around having that conversation because they are scared of being canceled. So this is going to be something that I'm going to also take from my episode talking about cancel culture, because there are so many people that are trying to cancel Dave Chappelle since his special. There are people trying to cancel Dave Chappelle because of his previous specials. And I feel like, yo, if you don't like him, don't listen to it. But at the same time, I guess it's hard to say that, because if somebody was going on a rant saying racial stuff or whatever, of course you're still going to be like, oh man, they're spreading hate or whatever. But he wasn't doing that. He was basically talking about his issues with the community. That is it. And he made it into a joke form, And I get it. Some people are proud of the community. They stand by it. They went through so much, You probably didn't know how to come out. You didn't know if you should transition. It was something that was weighing in on your heart. It was something that you were really battling with for so long. And Dave Chappelle does not say that you guys are bad people. He does not say that he doesn't understand. He even gets to a point where he talks about his friendship that he built with somebody that was trans. This woman ended up killing herself. I think she was a man before, and then she became a woman. And, she ended up killing herself, battling with other things. But at the same time, she was so good with Dave Chappelle, fine with his jokes, laughed at his jokes and everything. And I'm not saying everybody is going to be that way. Definitely. There are going to be people that are going to be impacted in different ways. But at the same time, he was trying to get the community to understand that he understands what you guys go through. He understands that everything isn't always good for you guys. But at the same time, you can't go around and constantly point the finger at every single body when everything, or when little things happen. It's crazy. I remember a long time ago on the show Love and Hip Hop, right? There was a guy, he was gay. I don't know if he was trying to transition or what. Oh, no. There was actually someone that was transitioning. I don't know if they did the full transition or whatever, but there was a conversation with a woman, and the woman has children, right? And the conversation was somewhere along the lines of like, yo, like, we don't need everybody to know your business. And the person that was trans was like, yo, like, why not? Are you ashamed? Are you like, kind of acting like, am I the bad person? And that's not what was said. It was kind of like, yo, we'll tell our kids in the right time, or, everybody just doesn't need to know your situation. And I think that's honestly true. I see it so much now, through social media or just anything. And it seems like a lot of it is pushed. And I don't want to make it seem like, oh, you guys have to go into hiding or anything like that. But at the same time, you have to realize that everybody's not just going to jump on board immediately. We can compare that to so many different things. You could take a person that grew up in an area that's mainly white, and then they end up having a situation where they have to move into an area with minorities, just because, that money situation, they're going to have to move quickly, but it doesn't mean that they're going to be comfortable immediately. And I guess that's the best way to kind of describe it, because it's like, you don't know how people deal with situations, right? Or we can even talk about like, dude, let's talk about like religious people and how they really frown upon all of this stuff. I pray, I believe in God, but at the end of the day, I'm not going to treat you like you're a bad person just because you love what you love. Love what you love. There's a person that's probably in a church that wouldn't help you, and there's a person that's probably trans, gay, or whatever that will probably give you the shirt off of their back when you need help. So I'm not going to sit there and judge you and say you're a bad person or act like you're going to hell because you made these decisions. I'm not doing that. I'm not here to judge you. But what I'm saying is, don't sit there and act like everybody is just attacking you. One thing with me is, I'm straight, right? Like I said earlier, and I really don't understand how people get to that point, right? And that's just because I've never been through these things. I don't know. You know what I mean? It's not my life. It's not what I do. I don't know what you've had as far as experiences. So I don't know how you ended up at that point, So I can't say anything further than that. Like I can't compare your life to my life. We're doing two different things. But I will say that I have experienced some people that are a part of the community that aren't the best people. And that's with every single group. You could take anybody, just like how I said about the people that are in church. The people that are in church, they might not, they walk around and act like they're holy all the time. But are they? No, they make mistakes just like everybody else. They're acting like they're not making sin, committing sins like everybody else, but they are, right? Just like there's some people that are a part of the community that mess with Dave Chappelle, and there's some people that don't. Some people love his stuff, even though they're a part of the community. They look at it as just comedy. They understand the conversation, and that's where they are. And then you have other people that really just feel attacked. I'll give an example, okay? So years ago, I knew this dude. He was gay. This guy used to say he was cool. He was cool, if you were cool with him. But a lot of times he would just say whatever. You know what I mean? He's saying a bunch of fucked up shit about people. A lot. And I remember there was this altercation where, somebody went off on him because he was gay, and it was something that hurt him so much. And I'm not saying like, oh, he deserved it or anything like that. It was something that bothered him so much. But at the same time, it's like, bro, you're out here just saying whatever about people. You're saying crazy stuff. You know what I mean? You should be able to understand. Now, maybe it's because it was some type of hurt, and then now you're just reflecting it out on others in different ways. But at the same time, that should be a moment of reflection for you to be like, oh, okay, you can't judge everybody, because when people are always going to pull that out and say something about you being gay or whatever, you have to sit there and realize, like, you can't do that, because people are always going to pull that out. Somebody's going to pull that out. That is a part of your life. That's who you are. It's a lot of people that don't understand. You know what I mean? And with that, I'm basically saying, like, he was really hurt by that. He was telling everybody, some people were like, yo, you kind of acting like the victim. And in a way, I kind of was like, yo, you say crazy stuff to people. You can't be mad if somebody comes back and says something to you. It's there. We know you're gay. If somebody comes back and says that, like, they didn't have to say that, but you didn't have to say what you had to say either. So at that point, we can't really crucify this person, because you said a whole bunch of shit as well. You know what I mean? And sometimes with the community, it's like that. Like, and he's not the only person. I've experienced so many people that are a part of the community that just act wild and act crazy. Here's another example. I've experienced some people that are a part of the community and say, like I said, with the YouTuber James Charles, how he goes for straight men. There were a lot of guys that do that. And not just saying guys, but in these situations, they were guys. And it's like, you guys come so hard towards people, like you're putting on that pressure. And if somebody says, yo, I'm not into that, leave it as that. Don't come back with well, don't knock it till you try it. Don't say none of that. Don't be like, but man, like, you don't know. You know what I mean? Don't do none of that. Accept it and move on. I feel like those are the people that are a part of the community that really are, more accepted. They get the respect, because it's like, oh, okay, cool. Like, you cool. You ain't doing the extras. You know what I mean? You a cool person. I fuck with you. But when you doing the extras and all that stuff, man, people just lose respect. And it's not just because of you being a part of the community. We could say that with almost anything. If somebody's harassing you in any other type of way, you're doing too much. You know what I'm saying? It could be a straight guy, straight girl. If a straight guy is coming on to a straight girl too fucking hard, yo, bro, you need to chill. You know what I'm saying? And we have to think about it that way in a lot of these situations. We have to compare these situations to other situations, drop the labels, and really look at the situation for what it is. I get it. You're proud of your label. You're proud of what you represent. But at the end of the day, you can compare it to so many other situations. And that's what Dave Chappelle was doing in this special. Now, a lot of people didn't want to see it that way. That's because they're sticking to the idea of those labels, what they're representing. But at the end of the day, it's like, yo, you got to see it in a different way. So Dave Chappelle was making the comparison with the rapper The Baby, right? The Baby had so many controversies. I don't back what The Baby said when he was at some concert, and then he said, I think it was like Lollapalooza or something like that. And oh, excuse me, I burped. Sorry, the mic stinks. But anyway, he made a comment about something homosexual, something like that, you know. And when I heard the statement, I was really like, you know, I was on social media, and then they posted a video of him saying it. And I was just like, yo, this is kind of random. Like, I don't know what happened before the video. I don't know if he saw something or what. It was just like, wait, what? Like, where the hell did that come from? And why would you say it during your performance? Like, that was just weird. I thought it was uncalled for. I feel like he honestly did not need to say it. And he got so much backlash. You know what I mean? He lost deals. He lost all kind of stuff. The Baby was really being canceled. But the situation is about him before. So he got into an altercation in a Walmart. But the altercation was him defending himself from another person. Dave Chappelle didn't really say that in the stand-up special. But The Baby ended up shooting somebody. He shot a dude, killed him, Walmart. You know what I mean? It's in the South. You can carry your guns and all that different stuff. And nobody really cared. And that's the part I feel like Dave Chappelle kind of should have put in there. I don't know if he knew that it was self-defense or what. But either way, the comparison is The Baby killed a dude on Walmart, a black dude in Walmart. Nobody cared. But as soon as The Baby made a statement on stage, everybody wanted to cancel him. So Dave Chappelle was basically like, you can kill a nigga in Walmart, but you can't say anything about the community. And like I said, I still feel like The Baby just came out of nowhere with that statement, you know, and, you know, he was defending himself in Walmart, but The Baby has gotten into other altercations and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, it's kind of true. You know, we live in a society now where nobody can have opinions. And that's honestly how it feels. And for me personally, you know, I'd rather know that somebody's that way instead of being like, nah, just act cool. You know, I think I said that in another episode, like with racist, I'd rather know you're a racist than you to secretly act like you like me and you don't like black people. You know what I'm saying? I'd rather know what it is. So if those people are like, yo, I'm not listening to The Baby no more, do that. Do that. Don't support The Baby. You know what I'm saying? But canceling people all the time because you don't like certain stuff that they said, it's like, yo, like, people change every single day. It got to the point where they wanted The Baby to take these classes to learn more about the LGBTQ community. And it was like, dude, at the end of the day, like, you know, how do we know that he's being genuine about it? When doors are closed, he might still be talking shit. We don't know. And we don't know if, you know, he might have actually learned his lesson and he's on like a different level and being like, all right, cool. I understand what's what. I made some bad decisions. You know, I'm sorry. I'm genuinely sorry. But at the end of the day, it's like, yo, he has to make his money. He's losing jobs. He's losing gigs and all kind of stuff. Of course, anybody's going to sit there and say, I'm sorry. They need that money. You know what I'm saying? So to sit there and try to force him to apologize, it's like, dude, like, let's see what happens over time. You guys are kind of like, yo, like, I want the apology now. Like, I don't know. I don't know if somebody's changing their mind that soon. But then I don't know if he was really I don't know the full story. We don't know the full story. I don't know if he saw something. He said something about somebody, giving some oral sex in the parking lot in the car or something. I don't know if he saw something. We don't know if he saw something or what. We don't know where it came from. But I think he might have said it, but I don't know. So I'm not going to spread no other type of information since I don't know. But at the end of the day, it's like, yo, we can't sit there and attack everybody for every opinion. We could take somebody that's a part of the community and they have opinions. Of course, everybody has their own opinion. You can be a part of that community and be so different from other people that are in the community. You know what I'm saying? And people can come and cancel your ass. Look at James Charles. I'm going to always bring back James Charles because he's someone that's a part of the community. And in a lot of ways, I feel like these days, it is somebody from the community that's trying to cancel others for saying certain stuff. But at the end of the day, dude, James Charles is still making videos. He's still making money. James Charles has been talking to people that are underage. James Charles has been harassing straight guys. Where is the justice for that? He's probably lost some deals and stuff like that, but he's not totally canceled. So why is it different for him? Why? Why isn't he being really, really attacked like that? I mean, he was attacked. He lost followers and everything, but at the end of the day, bro, I think the lowest form of person is when you're dealing with kids. Now, he's not dealing with super, super young kids. He's dealing with people that are teenagers. They might be 16, 17, 15 at the youngest. You know what I'm saying? And it's not a secret either. It's not like, oh, they lied about their age. Dude, these people are coming back with screenshots. They're coming back with recordings. They're coming back with evidence. And I'm not saying it could just be him. It might be other people that are part of the community that have done crazy stuff and they've been canceled. I'm not sure. But what I've noticed nowadays is there's a lot of people from the community that really do act like they're constantly being attacked. If I even make a statement and say yo, man, I don't understand how somebody could be gay, somebody's going to take offense to it. But in reality, it's yo, I really don't understand. I'm a straight guy. I don't know what that's like. And that is it. There is nothing deeper to that. It's just yo, I don't understand it. And somebody would be like, man, what you mean you don't understand? What you saying? And it's yo, I'm not saying anything else. I'm not saying I hate anybody. I'm not saying do harm to anybody. And that's another thing. There are articles talking about Dave Chappelle saying that his statements are kind of representing or going to lead to violence towards people in the community. And it's how? He did a comedy special. He's not somewhere with a torch yo, go and catch him. He did a comedy special. Now, was his comedy special going to influence the minds of some people? Yeah, sure. But just like me, it was me feeling kind of the same way that he felt. And now I'm yo, finally this conversation is happening, because I feel like any other time we look at celebrities and we're constantly you have, the stage, you have the power to change stuff. And we say it for everything, right? When it comes to defending the community, they use that so much. You have the power to give us justice, right? But at the end of the day, when there is stuff that is being done and the community is the cause of it, what's going on? So let's take another thing, where there's dudes, right? Say there's guys, or maybe not even just guys, women, whatever. Because I've seen lesbian women hit on straight women, and they're really applying the pressure. But let's just say somebody a part of the community is applying the pressure to somebody that is straight. A person is always gonna have a limit. A person is always gonna have a level of frustration that they can get to before it's yo, I can't deal with this anymore. And I have literally seen it done. I have seen it done. I have seen somebody that is a part of the community harass someone. That straight person gets angry, and words are being thrown around, of course, because they're mad, or things even get physical. And the next thing you know, it's like, yo, I'm being attacked because I'm gay. It's like, whoa, whoa, whoa. No, you're being attacked because you're harassing someone. That's what it is. And then in a lot of situations, it's like, oh, let me tell somebody. And then people start making jokes. Oh, you was harassed by a gay dude. Like, man, you're adding fuel to the fire. And that happens so much. So then now this person wants to go and fuck you up. They want to go and beat you up. You're a part of the community. They want to fight you. And immediately a whole bunch of people are going to sit there and call that a hate crime. Oh, he's trying to swing on him just because he's gay. And that's not the case. Where's the part that we're talking about of you were harassing this dude for so long? He told you he's not into that. He was speaking so calm and so softly before, telling you he's not into that. But what happened? You wanted to press it farther, farther, whatever. But at the end of the day, dude, there is so much stuff that goes on. There's so many inequality situations when it comes to the community, bro. And I don't know if people aren't understanding it. I don't know if they don't see it. I don't know if they're sweeping it under the rug. And like, dude, look, again, back to James Charles. He wasn't caught one time, bro. He was caught so many times. So many times. And it was just like swept under the rug. At first, it really was. Until it really started being covered by YouTube news personalities. You know what I mean? Like Keemstar that does Drama Alert. Or we have Philip DeFranco that does his show. And other people. And it's just like, bro, like, it has to get to that point for you to kind of calm down. And that's just one YouTuber, There's so many other people that are doing all kinds of other stuff. And what's crazy is like James Charles did two things. He's harassing straight people, but then he's also talking to underage people. When there's straight guys that are talking to somebody that's underage and they're claiming that they didn't even know, immediately they're canceled. Immediately. But then we look at James Charles, it's like, bro, you did this multiple times, and every single time somebody came out with some type of evidence. And you're still doing your business, you're still doing your stuff, and it's slowed down, but at the end of the day, he wasn't totally canceled. So why is it different for the community of straight people? Why? Why does it seem like it's different? And I get it because we're at a different time. We're in a different time. I get the community was fighting so much to feel equal, to be accepted. That's the biggest thing for you guys, to be accepted, to be treated the right way. And you guys deserve it. You really do deserve it. And everything that I'm saying, Dave Chappelle said also. But all the negative comments are coming from the few statements that he did make during his special. He's not saying you guys don't deserve to be happy. He's not saying that you guys deserve to be attacked when you guys get attacked for whatever situation. You know what I mean? And I'm not saying that everybody a part of the community is being attacked because they're harassing other people. Some of you guys are being attacked for no damn reason. And it's known. It's known. If you're out there and you're attacking people that are a part of the community, the LGBTQ community, shame on you. You deserve whatever comes to you. But if you're out here just really acting like a victim in all these situations, and you know what I mean? One thing I have to realize is that people don't view situations the same as I would view situations, or the same as other people that are like-minded like me, right? So they'll view things in different ways. But in a lot of times these days, I feel like some people are using these things as an excuse. Like I said, if somebody's attacked, and, they were harassing somebody, it's like, oh, they attacked me because I was gay. Like, no, that's not the situation at all. You were harassing me. You were really bothering me. You pushed me to the limit. I told you multiple times I don't fuck with it. And you wanted to keep doing your stuff. So, hey, let's be honest. Everybody a part of the community isn't good. And one thing for me, I feel like when the community really does act this way, you're constantly going to be attacked because people are going to be feeling like, yo, this isn't even equal for the people that are straight. You're going to make it harder on yourselves. Now, I get it. You might not like the statements that a lot of people make. One thing for sure, being a minority, one thing for me is growing up, I didn't really deal with that. I've always went to a school that was, so diverse that I didn't deal with somebody saying some racial slurs to me or somebody acting a way towards me because I was black. I didn't really experience any of that until I became an adult. And even then, it wasn't even as harsh as what people go through. But I can only imagine what people of a certain race go through, or somebody that's black or Hispanic, Asian, whatever race you are, what you go through. So I can imagine what people a part of the community go through. It's always going to be people that's hating you. It's always going to be people that's talking shit to you. And I'm not saying you got to sit there and walk away with your tail between your legs, you know what I mean? Acting like you just scared of the world and everything like that. But at the end of the day, people are always going to be that way. We have the conversations talking about, man, end racism. Racism is never going to end. Never. There's people that don't understand what it's like to be a minority. There's people that have bad situations with minorities, so now they hate minorities. Just like there's people that have bad situations with somebody a part of the community, so they hate the community. Just like there's people that are out here just mad at whatever. There's some angry ass people out here. And I'm not saying just sweep everything under the rug, but at the end of the day, Dave Chappelle was there. He's doing his comedy. You know what I mean? And his comedy is good. Like I said, I feel like this conversation needed to be said. It needed to be out there. Because in a time where everybody is acting like they're just going to be canceled and they're talking about this stuff behind closed doors, Dave Chappelle said it on a Netflix special, trying to give a little more justice and understanding to the straight community, just like you guys want understanding in your community. Understanding on both parts. You know what's crazy, and I think about this a lot as an adult. A lot of stuff is misunderstanding. While the community is thinking that everybody's hating people that are part of LGBTQ, a lot of people really don't give a fuck. They don't care. They're not out here running with the mob, with the torches and pitchforks and like, yo, let's hunt them down. There's a lot of people that aren't like that. They don't care what the hell you're doing because they're too busy living their lives. And that's the thing that's crazy. If you're living your life, why are you so worried about what everybody else is doing? And stop comparing it to racism, please. I mean, you can. I mean, I did. You know what I mean? I just made some comparisons, but at the same time, there's people that have been dealing with racism for so long, generations. People that were literally killed in mass numbers, people that were held down for so long. And I get it, your community has been held down as well. But bro, please, racism is always going to be bigger. And I don't mean to make that sound bad and make it sound like y'all situation ain't important. But at the end of the day, racism is always going to be a bigger situation. It is. The stuff that black people had to deal with in America, the stuff that Jewish people had to deal with in the mid 1900s. All kind of people had to deal with all kind of stuff. Just still stuff going on today in other countries. Stop making that comparison and acting like your situation is bigger. I get it. That is what you are currently dealing with in your life, and it is impacting you. But at the end of the day, bro, don't try to act like your shit is way more serious than that. Don't, because I see them statements. Social media, they post some of them statements that some people of the community say. And it's like, yo, what? No. Your situation is not bigger than that. You know what I mean? There was people that were hanging from trees just because of their skin. They couldn't hide their skin. And I'm not saying that you got to hide who you are. Be proud of who you are. If that's who you are, be proud of who you are. Don't sit there and be trying to trick people and be on the down low. And nah, let it be known that's you. One thing that I think the community doesn't realize is this is such a great time for you guys. You guys really are getting the damn respect that you guys wanted for so long. And here I am as a black person, right? And I see the injustice that happens to black people. And I may not talk about it all the time. And I know so many people that post all the articles of everything that goes wrong with black people. And there's probably some people that probably feel like I just don't care, but I don't always talk about it. I might have the conversation with a couple of people or whatever, and that's that. But at the end of the day, I know what's going on in the world. We see what's going on in the world with people of color. We see what's going on when people of the community is being attacked. We see all of that. We're not forgetting. And it might be times where you feel like people are kind of like, oh, better them than us, you know, because they're not personally dealing with that. But it's still being seen. You can't sweep it under the rug. You can't. You guys deserve justice just like anybody of any other race deserves justice. Now, there is a lady, she used to be a man, but she transitioned, and she is a, what do they call it? Runner, or something. She's the head of one of the shows that's on Netflix called Dear White People. This lady is white. She said that she no longer wants to work with Netflix because of Dave Chappelle's stand-up comedy special. Now, people are making jokes about it, definitely, because it's a white man that transitioned into a woman, and you're the head of a show that kind of talks crap about white people. And then you're offended at the stuff Dave Chappelle said. Now, here's one thing we could say is like, well, you know, the show's called Dear White People, and it's black people basically voicing their frustrations with white people, the injustice and all the different stuff, the same stuff that she's vocalizing about Dave Chappelle. And it's crazy because everybody's like, okay, so you made a show. You're the person that makes sure the script is a certain way. You make sure production's a certain way, and you know what the show is about. So then with Dave Chappelle talking about his frustrations, like your show talks about the frustrations, you tell Netflix that you don't want to work with them anymore. And there's probably a lot of white people that don't really fuck with you. Now, you're behind the camera, so a lot of people probably don't even know about you like that, but let's be honest. If there's white people out there and they're feeling like, yo, the show ain't right, man, they constantly talking about white people and how white people doing this and that, and you're a white person? So it really didn't really make sense. I mean, I guess, you know, you're picking to support your side of the community, and that's fine. Support the community. But let it make sense. Please let it make sense. How are you the head of a show? You're in charge of almost everything. A show that voices its opinions. If it wasn't a show and we turned that show into a comedy special, you could compare it to Dave Chappelle's, comedy special. It makes no sense. Now, I don't know. I know with like some stations, I watch Vice, right? And sometimes Vice plays these commercials where people call Vice and they're like, yo, Vice needs to be taken off TV, And I'm sure there's a lot of shows that get like hate mail and everything, like people that just do not like it. So I'm sure that somebody has been frustrated with Dear White People. Isn't that kind of, Dave Chappelle's not even saying he hates the community, but you're putting out a show where a lot of people most likely are frustrated. You probably get hate mail. So how are you acting like it's not comparable? It is. You should be able to understand, but you're acting like you don't. And you're telling Netflix you're no longer going to work with Netflix because of Dave Chappelle's show. There are people asking for Dave Chappelle's comedy special to be taken off of Netflix. There are people saying that they're deleting and they're getting rid of their Netflix accounts because of his special. Now, I'm not saying like, let's put it this way, right? So there are a lot of shows that are out about the community. Now, I'm not one of them people, like I said, I don't really care what the community does. There are a lot of shows I watch where there's gay characters or whatever, or, people that are part of the community. I don't cut them off. I watch the show because I like the show. But there are some people that are like, man, I'm not watching that shit. But there's a lot of content that I don't watch. If it's a show that's mainly about that, I might not be watching, depending on what the show is really about. Honestly, I might not even care. There's a show that I watch on BET called 20s, and the main character of the show is a lesbian girl. Great show. Love that show. Can't wait for the next season. I'm going to continue to watch the show. I love the show for what the content is. I'm not even, a lot of times I don't even look at the girl because she's gay. She's on the show trying to get at other girls. She doesn't look like a girly girl. She low key, if you see her in public, you'll think she was a dude. You feel me? So it's like, I'm not looking at the show for that. So in a way, it's kind of like, yo, if you don't like the content, don't watch it. Guaranteed there can be a whole bunch of people that are straight that are like, man, I ain't fuck with that. But there are a lot of people that really don't care. But pushing that acceptance on everybody is a little too much. There's shows that are kids' cartoons, right? And they'll cancel that show because they're like, oh, there's violence, and violence low key, gets the kids' minds, and then kids start acting crazy and wild. And, the same thing they kind of do with video games, like, oh man, we need to ban these video games. And there's shows now that are showing signs of the community. We can take the Nickelodeon show called Loud House. One of the characters has 2 dads. We can take the movie called Fun Size, which is like a Halloween comedy. The boy in the movie, he has 2 moms. Both great movies, great shows. I love Loud House. I love Fun Size. But at the end of the day, if you love the content, you love the content. Some people are going to be like, oh man, what the fuck? This shit is everywhere. And sometimes I feel like, yo, it is kind of forced in a lot of things. And I feel like a lot of times it is forced in a lot of things because people are like, yo, this will bring in more people. And it's funny, the community might look at it and be like, oh man, they're showing our people. But one of the biggest things that's talked about these days is being open. Living your life, being happy. That's why the community is so accepted now. So you think these executives and all this stuff for these shows and these networks aren't going to try to put it in there so they can get another audience? Of course they are. It's about making money. Don't sit there and think like, oh, they're really fucking with everything. Some might be. But at the end of the day, they're running that business. I'd rather know what somebody is truly like. I want to know how you are. You know, me saying that I don't understand how the community, you know, how people get to that point. That's just me saying that. That's honestly me saying that. Like, yo, hey, I'm a straight dude. I don't understand how you become a gay dude. And I can have a conversation like that with somebody that's chill, that's a part of the community. Like, what, hey, man, what led you to this point? And not be offensive. Not be offensive at all. Just have curiosity in that conversation. And then like, yo, man, what led up to that point? It could be a number of things. I don't know. I think a lot of times we just need more understanding. Understanding for the straight people and understanding for the people that are part of the community. And that's kind of what Dave Chappelle was talking about in his special. And you can't fault somebody for trying to build understanding. Now, he's a comedian, so yeah, there's going to be jokes about certain stuff. You're coming to a comedy show. You clicked on a comedy show. We can have a comedy show where there's a ton of white guys that are making jokes about minorities. Or there's minorities making fun of white people. Some people get offended by it. Some people just laugh their ass off. Normally when I watch comedy, I watch it and I laugh. You know, I laugh and I'm like, oh, okay, cool. Even, let's take an example, right? So Kim Kardashian was on Saturday Night Live recently, and she made a joke about her dad had her around black people for the first time, and her joke was basically like her dad had her around O.J. Simpson for the first time. And then she made some O.J. Simpson jokes or whatever, but I immediately thought like, oh, okay, there's somebody somewhere that probably just focused on the racial part of that. Like, oh, okay, oh, Kim around black people, now she always around black people. You know what I mean? Just a whole bunch of shit. People are always going to take stuff a certain way. That's like somebody saying the N-word. I know a lot of people that would be mad at somebody of another race that says the N-word. I've been to areas where this person isn't black, but almost everybody they know is black. And they allow that person to say the N-word. I'm not going to be the person that pops up like, oh, man, what? Trying to fight and all that. I'm not about to do that. You're saying it in the same way that I'm saying it. And I get it. People can be like, oh, that's our word. That's our word. But you have to realize the facts. There are some people that grow up in areas and they just know black people. And the black people around them allow them to say that. Now, you can say, oh, man, I can't believe they let you say that. You know what I mean? You might end up having a conversation or whatever, but at the end of the day, you really going to check everybody? You can tell when somebody is saying something in a messed up way. You know what I'm saying? And let's go to the comedian Bill Burr, right? Bill Burr said he was with somebody, I think at a bar or something. And Bill Burr was like, he was like saying the difference of like somebody being like, oh man, there's a lot of Asians in here. You know, and he was like, I just said it like an observation, like, dude, there's a lot of Asians in here. He was like, I'm not saying that like, yo, man, what the fuck are all these Asians doing in here? He was like, yo, at that point, you could tell somebody's being a little, you know what I mean? They're being a little crazy. Like, yo, hey, what you got? What's the problem with the Asians? You know what I'm saying? And it's true. You can tell the difference. I'm not so easily offended. I'm not. But there's people that go around and they're constantly offended. People get mad at Bill Burr for having, you know, his stand-up comedy talk about women sometimes. They're like, oh, my God, he hates women. Dave Chappelle even said the same thing. He said some people feel like, oh, he hates women. And it's like, what? Like, you know, you're building a comedy routine off of experiences or just jokes or whatever. And it's like, dude, it's meant to laugh at. We look at TV so much. And there's so many stereotypes and a lot of jokes. And depending on how the content is, we laugh at it. You know what I mean? We don't take it as offensive. There is a ton of movies that have stereotypical things in it. And a lot of times, nobody says shit about it. There can be somebody that's offended by it, of course. One movie that's funny, Jim Carrey, Me, Myself, and Irene. If you guys have never seen Me, Myself, and Irene, in Me, Myself, and Irene, Jim Carrey is a trooper, like a state trooper. So he's a police officer. And he has a wife in the beginning. His wife is white, but she cheats on him with a black guy. She ends up giving birth to babies, 3 babies, and they're all black. So then she leaves Jim Carrey and leaves with the black dude, and Jim Carrey is taking care of his 3 sons. So while he's taking care of his sons, they have like a barbecue, and then they're saying a whole bunch of stereotypical stuff about black people. They're like, yo, you ain't never noticed? Like, your kids are black? Like, yo, like, like, you know what I mean? Like, the water beads up on their hair, and like there's some sausages. They're like, yo, them kids' dicks look like them sausages or something. Like, it's just the bit goes on for like a couple of minutes where they're kind of just making like black stereotype jokes. And I've never heard anybody say anything negative about Me, Myself, and Irene. It was funny, but people could sit there and take it the wrong way. You know, we have to know how to separate these things. You know, and I get it. Me, Myself, and Irene is really a goofy movie. It's you can't take everything seriously, and you can take Dave Chappelle's comedy series a little bit serious because that's kind of how his comedy is. It's like it's a goofy, it's funny comedy, but he talks about some real stuff. It's always like a lesson in Dave Chappelle's comedy. And, you know, I think that's why people take it a little bit more serious. But at the end of the day, it's a conversation that needs to be had. There are too many people that are going around that are thinking they're going to be canceled, that are feeling a certain way. And they're not speaking up on it because they're like, yo, man, hey, the community is strong right now. If I say anything, they're going to come for me and my career is going to be over. It might be somebody listening to this podcast right now and they might get offended. I hope they don't. But at the end of the day, they might. They might be like, yo, fuck him. I'm not listening to the podcast anymore. But nobody means harm. Like I said a couple of times before, Dave Chappelle ain't leading the mob against the community. He has some concerns, and these concerns came out in the special. Just like a lot of people have concerns about a lot of stuff that others can be offended by. But the conversation still happened. You know, let's be honest. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this, you know, episode. I don't know, man. I was really trying to word stuff. Not really worded a certain way, you know what I mean? But in a way, like trying to put everything together in the right way to help you guys understand. Me personally, I'm not scared to have the conversation. You know, I'm not known. But it's and it's not just because I'm not known. It's just like, yo, I don't mean any harm. So I know how I'm approaching the conversation. And I think that's why it's so easy for Dave Chappelle to have the conversation, because I genuinely feel like he doesn't mean harm. So if you guys haven't checked out the special, don't just watch the clips that are online. Check out the whole thing, because that's something with online. You know, you're looking at Twitter, you're looking at Facebook, you're looking at Instagram, and they play these little clips and you don't get the full understanding. There's been so many times where other stuff has been taken out of context, and then you watch the full interview or whatever, and then you're like, oh, well, they explained it, but that clip didn't show it. Watch it, build your understanding. If you're still mad at what he said, you're still mad at what he said. If you want to say fuck Dave Chappelle, say fuck Dave Chappelle, and don't fuck with his stuff anymore. Plain and simple. We're adults. We can't go around here just acting like, you know, we're emotional teenagers and we're just in our feelings way too much. We live in a world. Here's fact. We live in a world where everybody has an opinion. And we can't act like people can't have their opinion. We can't act like people can't feel a certain way. Now, if they're just going and doing random, like real hate speeches and really trying to cause harm to people, then yeah, that's out of hand. But that's not what was happening with Dave Chappelle Special. Thank you for listening. Check out my socials. I'll leave those down below. If you guys are looking at Red Circle, if you guys are listening on YouTube, everything's down below. If you guys want to check out my Twitter is who_is_KD2_. My Instagram is It's King KD, and my Facebook is Who Is KD. Thank you for listening again. You guys stay dope, and I will check you out later. Peace.